President Vladimir Putin, meanwhile, has been making an end-of-year speech to his top military brass. While hailing Russian soldiers as heroes, Putin vowed that he would eventually fulfil his goals in Ukraine, but he seemed to acknowledge that the invasion hadn't gone entirely to plan, saying that the Ministry of Defence needed to take on board some lessons that had been learned.
Beginning in January, the Admiral Gorshkov frigate will be equipped with the new Zircon hypersonic missile, which, I repeat, has no equivalent anywhere in the world.
President Putin touting the latest Russian military hardware. Well, earlier on, I asked France 24's regional correspondent Nick Holdsworth what the main messages were in Putin's address.
In some ways, there was mixed messaging. I mean, he doubled down on continuing the military campaign. He said that Russia would ensure that its nuclear forces were suitably prepared. He spoke about the importance of drones, the lessons to be learned from that, and that Russia's hypersonic Sarmat missiles, also known as Satan II, would be ready for deployment in the near future. At the same time, he ceded some of these criticisms that we've recently been hearing from him. He said on Monday when he was visiting Belarus, he admitted that the situation at the front was extremely difficult. He talked today about the Russian military having lessons to learn and it should listen to criticism. There was also an oblique reference and understanding that the mobilization hadn't gone so well. And there was the announcement after Putin's speech by Sergei Shoigu, the Minister of Defense, that the Russian military plans to expand by 500,000 men, but they plan to change the terms of conscription. At the moment, 18 to 27-year-olds can be conscripted. There's been a lot of criticism in Russia of young soldiers, young men as young as 18 or 19 years old, being sent to Ukraine and dying there, being killed there. In the future, we don't know specifically from when, the age of conscription will be 21 to 30. And Putin reiterated again in an oblique reference to that American military aid package. He said that for centuries, our strategic adversaries have been setting the goal to disintegrate and weaken our country, viewing it as too big and posing an existential threat. And he also said that he considered Ukrainians a brother nation and the war had been forced upon Russia. It wasn't their fault, in effect, that he had invaded Ukraine back in February.